I wrote down the day that I fell for you. A year and 3 months later, the script completely changed. I guess I was meant to love you on a timeline. And that's that. Yes, we broke up. I'm not making this video to highlight my sob story, my breakup. Instead, to take you through my healing journey and encourage yours.
You set my world on fire. 내 세상에 번져.
Truth be told, tonight's the first night of the breakup. I'm not holding on to you as the person I love so much that I can't be without. I'm holding on to our memories instead, and I keep gripping onto it. I'm leaving this place, this apartment where we built all our memories.
In my relationship, we came to a place of dissatisfaction, at least me. I'm speaking for myself after a chunk of clarity settled in and can finally see it for what it was. The only way you're gonna understand is if I rewind us back to a couple months. The last time I saw him as my person was on my birthday in May. We went on a mini getaway, he dropped me home, and the last thing I said to him was, "I'll see you next week, bye, I love you." Kisses. It was rough, all of May. We had more downs than ups. I wasn't happy. I mean, he wasn't happy either. What did it for me though? What made me recognize this? I cried myself to bed for a month straight. Okay, maybe I'm exaggerating. Let's say 4 to 5 days out of a week. There. Sounds more accurate. Is that the definition of unhappiness? I just didn't feel prioritized, and it felt stuffy. As complicated as it was, to simply put it, my needs weren't being met. Did I communicate that well? No. I spiraled into overwhelming sensations of negative emotions, and it played a huge role. I'm not perfect, and I could have done better, but you learn. How were we 456 days deep in this relationship, yet I felt so distant? We could be in the same room and I'd feel so lonely. Sleep in the same bed, him right next to me, but I felt so alone. Was this it? We'd spend a day together and everything would be so okay, but as soon as he left the physical picture, all the catastrophic feelings crept back. Why? Our issues weren't being solved. Instead, just brushed over as it piles in comfort on top of another. I didn't feel like I was heard, and this is where my needs felt completely dismissed.
You guys are gonna love it. But yeah,
Oh, we had issues. I know that. We both knew. I wasn't perfect, and honestly, I self-sabotaged a lot. Most of the fights I started, I craved reassurance and a deeper, vulnerable, emotional connection. I felt so empty. I didn't have an emotional safety net to fall back on when things got bumpy. Don't get me wrong, he was an amazing person and never had ill intentions to hurt me, ever. Most times, he didn't even know I was hurting. We decided to go on a break, and I knew this was coming to an end. Although I had every intention to hold on to him, I journaled every day to cope with the loss I knew was coming. This journal haunts me. I ripped out a bunch of pages because I did not want to even have any recollection or identify as that same person anymore. The previous pages before this, I ripped out and cleared. They were only of sadness and pain from him. I kept coming back and reading those entries, and truth is, it breaks my heart. I wanted love from him on my terms. The break for me was harder than the actual breakup, to be honest. It felt like a shift, witnessing a change within a person that you never knew existed. I had no idea who this guy was anymore. I was finally waking up or realizing how blind I've been. I trusted him to be the person I made up in my mind for over a year, and then suddenly, he wasn't. 2 weeks passed of no contact before the plug was pulled. Let me lay my ego to rest real quick. I was hopeful that we'd come back together and fix the broken, not realizing You can piece a broken heart, but not a shattered heart. I will also like to admit that I too was okay with the idea that we separate. However, I wasn't ready. I was not ready to throw away everything we've accomplished. Every first that we spent together, the road trips we've been on that I talked for 7 hours straight, the way we'd always order nachos for appetizer and critique them like we were some big shot out here, living together in a different state like we're in our own little world, going on vacation to our favorite places where we'd gamble a little too much that night, but who cares? We're drunk in love. From him braiding my hair to popping my zits, the nose strips we did while baking brownies and dancing to stupid country music that I wasn't even all that into before him. How he'd brush my hair away from my face when he looked at me. The gentle kisses to the playful fights as he flips me upside down over his bad shoulder. Living room slow dances to High School Musical and watching all the Will Ferrell movies. I'd crinkle my nose and he'd kiss it, sometimes engulf it, and it'll make this horrible suffocating sound. Pretending we were in Hell's Kitchen and imitating Gordon Ramsay, you stupid donkey. The drunk nights after 3 glasses of IPA and the cocktails I drink joyfully as if this was gonna be us in 30 years. Rooftops screaming Bohemian Rhapsody, grabs my hand and plays air guitar. How I'd co-pilot and make him miss the exits because I was too busy venting. Sudden traffic stops and he never failed to put his arm over me. He'd be so proud of me when I screamed in excitement, hitting the ball on my first swing. No. I couldn't let us throw us away. But we did. I felt discarded, but I can't be mad. I was in love with the idea of him. If you were to strip everything away, all external contributions, and he stood right in your eye as he is, and nothing ever changed, would you stay? Is he what you need? Was I even living in the actual condition of our relationship, or was I living in the potential I forcefully saw and convinced was going to happen eventually? Am I just in love with the idea of him? The person I painted him to be, the fantasies I conjured through ideas of who I wanted him to be. It's the potential of him that I loved, and I couldn't give up.
I'm not crying because of you. You're not worth it. I'm crying because my delusion of who you were was shattered by the truth of who you are. I always thought of you as someone who would never, ever hurt me. But you did. And when a person tells you that you hurt them, you don't get to decide that you didn't. And I wish I could hurt you. I wish I could hurt you the way you hurt me, but I know that if I had the chance, I wouldn't do it.
We finally meet for the last time to say goodbye.
You know, we said our goodbyes, and we're gonna focus on ourselves. But I feel so sad. I wish him all the best and happiness.
A weight felt like it lifted off my shoulders, but something else settled and replaced real quick. Reality. The moment I saw him and sat down, he felt so different. I wasn't familiar with him at all. Strangers? Not even friends. My heart dropped from the moment I saw him to the moment we drove our separate ways. It killed me alive that a month ago, this person was my everything. That was him, yet I had no idea who was sitting in front of me. I felt so blinded. Why am I here? I thought in the silence that built between us. I spent over a year trying to make him the one, and it took that second to realize it really doesn't work like that. Of course, as the bad bitch I am, I tried to keep it as normal and friendly as my body possibly could. We left to his car and talked a little longer. I hid the letter I wrote him behind the passenger seat. Of course, it only took him 2 months to find it. I cried. I laughed. I got defensive. I smiled. I tried. I was confused. I accepted. Kissed him on his cheek. We hugged. The end.
It just doesn't get easier, huh?
I haven't deleted the memories off my phone. I haven't even taken off the bracelet he bought me for Christmas.
Oh my gosh!
What?
Oh my goodness! not bad at all. Hold it. Oh my goodness. A bracelet? Is that the smallest? You should went to the smallest one.
I almost hold on to these in hopes that we'd reconnect one day and continue our story as if we didn't just wish each other happiness, no matter if that's with each other or new people. It was so hard. It's a specific type of pain to leave someone you love. I've never felt this desperate. I was defeated, unwell, tired, painfully depressed. My stomach churned in knots and I exclaimed my sorrow and grief. Losing someone who's still here as if they've passed away from your life is oh so fucked. Trust me, I've dealt with death, and the demise of him from this now ex relationship incapacitated me from my own breath. Ugh. My chest tightens just thinking about it. It's like we were always destined to part ways since the beginning. It's his loss. I did everything I could. I did. I always. You come to a place where you start doubting like what was real in the relationship and what was not. And I'm not gonna lie, I've gotten angry throughout this healing process. You wasted my time and you robbed me of the love I've given and the selflessness that I've given towards a person that I was so willing to invest my time and energy into. And it's just so unfair. And then you have to accept this reality that it happened. You can't do anything about it. And you're just left with anger, like such resentment. I just have to force myself to believe that he was sincere about this whole relationship too. Like, do I know that? I don't know anymore. I'm angry. I lost a sense of who I am because I was too busy forming bodies of water around you. You win. If I give all of me and all the love I have and treat this person like, give this person everything, I thought that by doing all those things, he'd like return it in a sense of vulnerability and emotional safety. If I have given him more, maybe, just maybe, he'd see the value in me, right? Like I was enough, worthy to fight for? No? I forced myself to stay within a 5-mile radius of misery, not to touch the edge of this sour threshold because I deserved this. I did this to myself, right? You know what the scary thing is? Going to that place. I found myself stuck in bed or lying in my closet for hours. The comfort that a dark place lures you in is so petrifying, but so sympathetic, like pity. Don't get me wrong. Visit it. Go there. Cry. Be alone. Disentangle your feelings. Be fucking sad. But don't stay there too long. Please, whatever you do, don't get too comfortable, because when you do, it's so hard to leave. Depression sucks your energy and it thrives off of it. It calls you at a time when you're your most vulnerable because it knows you won't say no. Takes advantage of your appetite, your energy to stand, the ability to look forward to tomorrow. Again, visit and do what you need to do, but then you pack your shit and get the fuck out of there.
Like, I really hope he's happy, and if he is, then it makes me really happy. But like, I'm so proud of him, you know?
You've done the best you can, so have some forgiveness and be kind to yourself. You have to let him go now because he doesn't serve you anymore. It is all working in your favor. Even if you don't see it now, this breakup is leading you to a new beginning. Trust that nothing is ever a mistake. You loved someone who couldn't match the capacity to love you back the way you needed, and therefore you were never too much. You were simply asking the wrong person. You did things for him that you never do for anyone else, forgave him for things that you were unforgiving about. But he's not your person. You don't get to tell people how to love you. You get to choose if you want to participate in the way they love. I am exactly where I'm supposed to be, and things are unfolding exactly how they're meant to. A new beginning awaits. I am ready to find change.
Now all my friends are wasted, and I hate this club, man. I drink too much. Now the Friday skies are black and red. I'm crawling back to your bed.
And here I am, a month and a half of therapy in and a breakup coach. Great. Granted, I only needed the help for that period of time. It's actually 3 months later. Well, technically I checked out a little earlier, so 4-ish months. You know, one thing that stuck to me that my breakup coach reassured me of, since this was the only source of validation I could seek, it surely wasn't coming from me. He was incapable. It wasn't that he was holding that vulnerability I craved so much as leverage or maliciously trying to keepsake that from me. He was unable to provide me that level of emotional intimacy. It's not like he wasn't willing to give it to me. He simply didn't have it. Some people are just emotionally unavailable, and I get it now since I ignored all the flags from the start. We weren't compatible, and that's okay. It doesn't have to be personal. Sometimes I get in my head and I think, it's not like I'm expecting an apology, but I hope you do feel sorry for the way things ended. I will, however, like to say, even when I knew it wasn't going to work, I kept holding on to us because I was scared. Thank you for being brave and freeing me, because I was too afraid to free you. I kept you even when I was unhappy because I was selfish. It was for my own good even when there were no good left. I don't want you to struggle to love me. And because of you, I learned not to only listen to my heart, but to listen to my hurt. I'll always love you. You were my best friend. And a piece of me you took unknowingly. So here's my annotation to you. Yeah, you. Still here listening to my sob story. Keep letting go, because you have to realize maybe there was really never anything to hold on to. Don't allow yourself to exist in a space you feel comfortable, because you know you deserve better. It's so much better to be alone than to feel alone with someone you're settling for. Don't let loneliness lower your standards. It's okay to keep a bookmark on the pages that he existed so you can ever so often revisit that chapter. But what do they say? You can't keep rereading the same story hoping for a different ending. I know sometimes we're not the easiest to love, but someone out there, your person, will love you no matter the circumstance, even when it's not convenient. It's painful now, but what if all the changes happening is what's meant to be done for a better tomorrow? Yes, things could go wrong, but they could also go right. We could sit here and what if all the negative outcomes, but it's only fair to what if all the beautiful outcomes. What if things turned out better than you could have ever imagined? Remember, the only way out is through the pain. Allow yourself to sit in discomfort and stop resisting your emotions. Surrender to the process of healing and trust that everything will pass. Time's gonna move, and so move with it. You deserve to love again.
Is my wrist this small? I don't know. I did it. I took it off. I did it. I took it off. It's done. It's done, guys. It's done. I'm so incredibly proud of your bravery. Your life falls apart sometimes for bigger and better things to fall in. So
I am a lovable person, a great lover. He was lucky to have known me and to be loved by me.